We're talking actors and directors who put on the shows.
We're talking playwrights and designers who you'll want to know.
From the very first rehearsal to the final curtain call.
We might be off Broadway, but we're talking about it all.
'Cause we're two local gals
with global pals. It's everything, everything, everything theater.
with Benita
And Ellen. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Everything Theater Podcast, the podcast where we talk about
everything theater, front, back, side, up, down, you name it, we got it going for you, including festivals. Hi, I'm Benita Zahn.
And I'm Ellen Cribbs. And yes, speaking of everything theater, yes, this is the big deal. If you are in the capital region, this is what we've been building up to for the past year of like celebrating the vast majority of all these wonderful artists in this thriving region that we are so lucky to live in.
Capital Region Festival of Theater, Patrick White, was a dream of yours, Patrick, and you've got a team helping this happen. As Kelly Blitz is with us also, part of that team. So what was did you have a dream one day and wake up and say, this has got to be it?
Years ago, for years, I've been thinking about this. Like I always, sometimes you get like, I don't know, resentful or something like, why didn't, we should get more coverage, or we don't get the attention we deserve, or something like that. And when I looked around at what we were producing and what the companies were doing, and more, since COVID, but I kept thinking like we belong on the cover of American Theater magazine. Like I doubt there's anywhere in the country that has this level of interest, participation, support. I just think it's phenomenal. And, the ways in which we keep growing, and you look at examples like Fort Salem Theater or, these groups that have come out of nowhere and people are driving over an hour to see, what they're up to, subscribing to their season, willing to work up there and make the commute, with a large cast. I just, and it happens again and again and again. Every weekend, I'm surprised. I had an auditioner last night. I said hello to a room full of auditioners. There were 11 people there. I knew 10 of them. And there was a new woman, Jessie, who read phenomenally, and I couldn't cast her. But I was like, this is extraordinary that, there's continually new people. The production, sorry, I'm going on. The production of Rosencrantz and Guildenstern that's on stage now at Albany Civic Theater, I mentioned in my review, 11 of those people are making their debut at Albany Civic Theater. All four, the Pillow Man, were making their debut at Albany Civic Theater. I just think it's phenomenal that there are this many people.
And Patrick, I'm going to jump in and amplify that. The Capital Region takes it on the chin for there's nothing to do, right?
Yes.
It's been the butt of jokes nationally. It's nothing going on. There's no, excuse me, how about open?
Well, who's making those jokes? The politicians who come up here for the legislature sessions, or this woman's basketball player who's down at the MVP or whatever they're calling it this week. It's like these people that use Albany and then leave. And that's the way that they built Albany with 787 and with the plaza. It's being built to be used by the workers, and then they go home to their suburbs. The whole thing is funneled in and then flushed out.
But the plaza, was built because then Governor Rockefeller felt that Queen Beatrix from the Netherlands had sniffed at what it looked like there. So he was looking to show off. So showing off does not mean utilization. It doesn't
Right.
mean community. And despite all that, the theater community is thriving.
There's a major news conference today about the $400 million that Governor Hochul, is giving to Albany. And yet this festival says, we've got your $400 million. Just open your eyes. Like we have, 1,000 participants in this festival. There are over 100 groups. There's going to be 100 events. It's just, you know,
So
uh,
let's get to the 411 on that, Patrick.
okay. So the festival's going to kick off with a craft mixer at the Q Theater, which is housed in the Westminster Presbyterian Church, 85 Chestnut Street in Center Square, right in the middle of Center Square. I attended it for the first time this year. Again, a theater that no one knows of. And we're going to have this huge kickoff event. It's going to have nibbles. It's going to have free pours of Josh Seller's wine. Joseph Carr, who is he was an intern with me at the Empire State Institute of Performing Arts. He's a veteran Capital Region performer. It's going to be featuring comedians Aaron Hartz, Jay McBride, Mopko, singer Taylor Hoffman, Jamie Parmenter, and there are 10 singers that I don't know, and I'm thrilled to be able to get to see them. That's on Thursday night, June 12th. Friday morning, June 13th, Senior Day out at Sand Lake Center for the Arts. They have a loaded program from 9 a.m. with breakfast going till 4:30. There's Sandy Boynton's going to do a Shakespeare workshop. David Bunce is going to do physical movement for older actors workshop. There's going to be a seminar Olga Porterfield is going to do on volunteering, where to go to get ushering jobs and things like that for seniors. Then the afternoon is going to be filled up with senior performers, senior stand-up comic Judy Clements, senior improv group Controlled Chaos, senior theater company Matinee Theater Players. They're going to have one acts, and Theater Voices is going to have a one act there, directed by Carol Charnaga. It's a Romulus Linney one act. And that's Thursday. And then we move to Theater Education Day that night over to Russell Sage College in Troy. Aaliyah Peel is curating that. And that's going to have Paul Riccardi from the Ankrum Center of the Arts doing a workshop on storytelling. It's going to have the Capital District Arts Initiative. Corey John Snide is doing a piece there. Drama Kids International is doing an original play by one Ellen Cribbs, I believe. The Shakespeare Shake-Up, is it?
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
Co-written with me and Jillian Becker. Yeah.
And then Saturday morning, we've got 3 stops. It starts off with a Theater Makers Morning up in Fort Salem. We traveled, 4 stops. We traveled down to Schenectady Light Opera Company for a musical matinee that's curated by Michaela Torres. And then at 5 o'clock at the Madison Theater, there is going to be a mayoral candidates forum. All 4 candidates for Democrat Mayor of Albany, Dorcia Pliers, Corey Ellis, Carolyn McLaughlin, and Dan Cerruti will be having a forum. They're going to talk about theater and the arts in Albany. An hour.
It's being
an
moderated,
hour
right?
of a politician talking about the arts.
And I should point out it's being moderated by the artistic producing director of Park Playhouse Stage Company, Owen Smith.
Very good. Owen is deeply involved and has been since the first meeting. That's correct. He proposed it to me, actually. I was going around trying to get photographs of politicians with our T-shirt on, and he said, you know what you ought to have? You ought to have a mayoral candidates forum. I was like, damn, I would love to have that. and we got it. Owusu Anani, councilman, is hosting. He owns the Madison Theater now. That evening, we're going down to the Rep, and Maggie is hosting. There's going to be like a theater fair with groups having tables up in the studio. And then there are going to be performances on stage. Michael Lake has a debut play that he's presenting. I believe Aaron Moore has a play in there. Hetty Barnhill has a play in there. Um, Not sure who else. And that's at the Rep. And then Sunday, U Albany, craft day. It's going to be all day long from 10 to 6. It's going to be 30 events. There are 4 rooms. There's a multi-purpose room, which is going to have workshops in improv, stage lighting, vocal auditions with Lisa Franklin. And then there's a auditorium which Ellen is curating, and that's going to have 13 one-acts,
Actually,
including
15 1X.
15. I have to read my updates, including a play called Sunrise in Times Square, which I'm directing, Harbinger's producing, and it's by our keynote speaker, Shar White, Broadway playwright who wrote The True about Mayor Corning and Polly Noonan. He also wrote a play called The Other Place, which featured Laurie Metcalf on Broadway, and a play called Pictures from Home, which had Nathan Lane on Broadway and Danny Burstein and Zoe Caldwell, I believe. Zoe Wanamaker. And that's being done at Curtain Call next season. Then there is a boardroom, which is going to have panel discussions. There's going to be a panel discussion on stopping censorship today, a panel on diversity and inclusive casting, a panel on social justice, a panel on young scholars, moderated by Kevin McGuire, who's a Falls graduate. And it's going to be with Jake Goodman, Gabriella Pizzola, Annabelle Duffy, Hassan Lang, Rachel Mantia, and Keith Du Bois.
We should point
And
out that
the
all those young people
studio,
you mentioned, these are performers now. These are young adults who got there, grew up in the capital region. Many of them performed with Playhouse Stage Company and have gone to college and now are earning their keep. They're living the dream as performers.
right? My idea behind it was, how has the capital region prepared you for a career in the arts, and what can we do better? And to talk to, there's a high school student or a new graduate. Keith just graduated high school last year. Rachel Mantia is graduating from Amsterdam this year. And then there are Annabelle, who went to Carnegie Mellon. Gabriella, I believe, graduated from Purchase this year. And
And
yeah,
she was on Broadway. She performed in Fun Home.
right. And then we have the studio, which is going to host the Playwrights Jam up in Cafe Lena. Michael Wells Oaks hosts a Playwrights Jam. Playwrights show up with their new work, and they pick actors out of the audience, and they read 8 minutes of the work, and they get feedback. And we're going to do that for 3 hours in the studio at the festival. And we also have a late booking, Electric City Puppets are going to be there. They do improv routines. It grew out of Mopco, but they do it with puppets. So that should be great. And that's the festival, or what I can remember of it.
Just a
So
few
is
things.
I'm not going to be in town, so I'm throwing my stuff all around it. But for those who are interested and they think, wow, listen to that's going to cost me a fortune to attend.
It's all free. It's all free. The mixer on Thursday night, we're charging 25 bucks for, because we have free pours of 8 cases of wine, but that's it. So everything else is free. And that's another thing about Capital Region Theater is all of these people are doing it for love and passion. There are many loan spaces throughout this. We're only paying rent on one item through this festival. Yeah, it's incredible.
This a one trick pony, or I mean, clearly it's a multifaceted one trick pony, or you're already looking to do this on a every other, every year, every 5 year basis. What do you think, Patrick?
It was an awful lot of work to do it only once. I keep telling myself when I run up into things and say, or when I screw up, I'll tell myself that this is going to be so much easier next year. So, yeah, I mean, I think it'll change and grow, but we had the cast party, which was a fundraiser at Cohoes Music Hall last October. We had Shakespeare's birthday party, April 23rd. And actually, even our general meetings, just getting all of us into a room have been so energizing, so much fun, and people go out on such a high. I can't imagine that this would be a one-trick pony. But, I just think, the just to get the circumstances, just to tell everyone, hey, we're all meeting at this place, boom, it's going to be awesome.
Kelly, we know Patrick's, enthusiasm for this. What's the attraction for you?
My attraction has always been doing theater in general. And I didn't grow up in this area. I moved here about 20 years ago. And when I moved here, I had no idea there was even a small arts community around here, let alone one that's allowing us to put together a 4 day, 8 or 9 different venue festival, and to be able to staff it with hundreds and hundreds of people and volunteers and patrons, and so the pull for me is just being able to give back to an area that I have called my home for 20 years, that I hope to call my home for a lot longer, where I have been able to meet so many wonderful people who are all like-minded and are focused on the arts, and want to bring the craft into the actual fabric of all of the cities that are around here. And so for me, the draw is being able to do exactly that. It's taking my history of performing and my knowledge of running organizations, and being able to really just take all of the different skills that I have both in the theater and out of the theater, and meld them together and try to create this vision that Patrick has brought to us and said, "Hey guys, I have this idea." About a year and a half ago, we met, and it was a brainstorm, and now it has grown into this. And to answer your question, Benita, with regard to, is this going to be an annual or biannual event? We're hoping that it's annual. We are planning on exactly that. We are a 501c3, so we have the infrastructure in place to be able to continue this year over year. And I'm actually also the treasurer on the board. So, looking at this from a planning and infrastructure standpoint, we're learning a lot this year. Certainly because we don't have a blueprint for this. There is no playbook there's no script to read from. But as we're learning and doing all of the things that we need to do to actually set up this festival and to hopefully make it a wild success, we're also, sort of making notes about things that work or that we want to try for next year, and things like that. So, I always say that if you want to have a really big event and you want it to go off without a hitch, and to have so many people be a part of it, ask the theater community to do it, right? It is what it is. This is what we do. We make a production out of toothpicks and string, and make it what it is. And so we are incredibly fortunate to have a lot of people who are willing to give us their time and their effort and their energy and their money and their talent, and to be able to really bring this to life. So it's been a really interesting way to give back to a community that has given me so much.
How will you know if it's a success?
Yeah, I have no doubt. Like I said, from the very first time we had the meeting in January of last year, and I just sent out an email, and we've got, 50, 60 representatives from companies all over. I only sent that email out to artistic directors, and 60 people showed up. And it was,
So what does that tell
and
you? But what does that tell you?
that tells me that everyone thinks that, they want to celebrate us, each other, and that, that the interest in each other is amazing. That we keep supporting each other, and that we all come together. And no one has said, boy, this doesn't sound great. And no, actually, across all these 8 venues now, no one turned me down. Everyone I asked, like, how would you feel about doing senior day out there? And everyone grabbed it and said, yes, we want to be a part of it. And actually, others want to be a part of it. And next year,
So going
as far
from
as hosting.
So going from that initial meeting in January 2024, where, I was there where Albany Civic Theater was packed with all these people, and there were ideas flying all over the place. It should be this, it should be this, and like, what is it going to look like? Who's going to organize it? It was just the fledgling of an idea, right? And to see it come to fruition is amazing. I was going to ask either of you or both of you, what have been some of the biggest surprises along the way? Either pleasant surprises, like we had no idea that this would happen, or any they were like, I had no idea that we even had to think about this to put a huge festival together.
Yeah, I don't know, dealing, we're having a walkthrough tomorrow at U Albany's campus center. And we're actually using the campus center. We're not using the Performing Arts Center, which is cool. Like, because, another thing about the Capital Region is that we have so much theater interest. We don't have a lot of great theater spaces, and this is like, it's fantastic. But like looking at the intricacies of what it takes to rent, the campus center, and, the line item charges and things like that. And, coming up with big donations. The first time we got a big donation, I was just like knocked out. I was like, what are you talking about? And it was just through a random, we followed up on people signed up with emails at one of our meetings. And we followed up and said, hey, do you want to donate? And someone said, yes, $10,000. And we're like, oh, what? But yeah, there have been the first time Sand Lake Center for the Arts turned in their schedule, which had by the hour, like what they're operating in 2 spaces. They're operating in the center, and they're going to use the library across the street. And they came up with this whole thing where it was all planned out in the morning, and then there was going to be, this break, and then the evening, the afternoons performances are all planned out. And there's like 20 different events there with, 50 people involved. And it was put together by these 4 women, Paula Huffey, Carlene Krischer Hayden, Val Kavanaugh, and Sue Frost, who just got together and hammered out and put up like this mini festival, and it
Kelly
was like
said,
that.
give it to the theater people.
Yeah.
right? Which was like my dream is like, we all do this, so having these people curate these afternoons and getting together with the U Albany team,
Ellen,
Hetty Barnhill.
of course, Ellen, for you and for the other, local folks who have this opportunity to write for and present, put on, on its feet and hear your work, to have this opportunity, what does that mean for you?
For me,
Yeah, I mean, you've created a piece that's going to be performed.
oh yeah. So the piece that I presented was originally for Drama Kids International, who is will be producing it, but like to give those students an opportunity to like because when we presented it originally, it was at the Egg, but it was just for parents and siblings, basically, right? Maybe some friends. So to give them a platform to do this new work and to hear my work, in this much bigger venue and have it out to the public is huge. That it gives so much more opportunity to something that didn't exist before. So it's thrilling. Yeah, it's very exciting. And I know that a lot of actually of the plays, 13 of the 15 in the One Act Festival are original plays. And that floored me. I thought people would be coming in left and right with like Christopher Durang plays, David Ives plays, like all these classic one acts. And it was people were like, no, that I want to do my play, or like a company said, we want to work with this playwright and present their work. So that's huge for these playwrights to have their work
That's
presented.
that's awesome. And next year, definitely something I want to introduce is companies that want to do a play to have them up at the Playwrights Jam and going through the Playwrights Jam submissions.
Mhm.
I think that's one of the huge things that people don't necessarily think about when they're thinking about theater in the capital region. For the most part, the gross majority of the people that are doing this is not our paying job. We're doing all of this on the side. We're doing all of this in our free time. And we all have other skills that we do day to day that pay the bills. And so when you get a lot of people together who work in a lot of different arenas outside of theater, where, doctors and directors and, attorneys and you name it, there's just such a huge cross section. And all of these people also are incredibly creative, and incredibly giving of their time and their effort. I think it's important that we highlight just how much talent there is in this area, but also how much dedication there is for people who are, you would normally see them out and about doing their day-to-day job, and you would have no idea that they perform, after hours, or they perform on the weekends and things like that. And I think that's one of the things that really brings this area together, is the idea that we all have something, multiple things to bring to any table. And so being able to highlight, I think, Ellen, you were asking about, what has really surprised us about going through this process. And I think that's one of the biggest things, is just to go, oh, we need an attorney to do X, Y, and Z. Got it. Oh, we need somebody that has a contact at, the Department of State. Got it. All of these things that people are bringing, not only their passion for the arts, but they're also bringing their knowledge of a whole lot of other industries into it, and allowing it to become what it is. And I think that's the thing that I've enjoyed learning about, so many of the people around here, is just how many different hats we all wear.
So we're just about into it. So is there anything else you still need besides people coming and enjoying?
Yeah, thank you for having us on today.
Yes,
We
thank
need
you.
we need a megaphone. Uh, we I think, although I delivered a poster. We got new posters of the whole schedule, and I delivered it, and I was like, they were going, "What's this for?" And I go, "It's for the festival," and they said, "What festival?" And I was like, Oh my gosh. I'm in a theater and someone said, "What festival?" I think we've gotten the word out to us, although maybe not, but to the general public. We're challenged in it being our first year. We're going into Father's Day, and getting the word out about what it is and what people can expect, and just to come and, see what this section of society, that you may not be aware of, and how big it is and how extraordinary it is.
To get the word out,
Yeah, I
everyone.
agree.
Ring the bell.
So once again,
Would you,
Patrick, you open when?
June 12th, Thursday night, June 12th, 6 p.m. at the Q Theater, 85 Chestnut Street. Also, you need tickets for the mixer. They're available on Eventbrite, Craft Mixer. And yeah, grab your tickets.
And besides this, of course, we'll have it on the Everything Theater Facebook page. We'll do Insta and make sure that right? Or they call it something else, just, I don't know, it's Instagram. But we're cool to a degree. But break legs, everybody.
Thank you.
thank
Have
you.
fun in
From
Springfield.
afar. Thank you. Thank you. That's what we were talking earlier, is that so many times we don't get to watch the performances of our friends because we are
Yeah, yeah,
performing.
yeah. Yeah,
So
and that's the other thing about this festival is like when you go to U Albany, there are four rooms playing at once. You got to choose. I'm actually thinking that the next button might say you can't see everything.
you-
Absolutely true.
but you got to see this. So be
Yeah.
there, gang. And Patrick and Kelly, thanks so very much. Really, all the best with this. It's so exciting. I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
Thanks, Benita. Thanks, Ellen.
And our listeners, thank you. We'll catch you next time. I'm Ellen Cribbs.
Yeah, Benita's on. Take care and go to the festival.
Thank you so much for listening to the Everything Theater podcast. Special thanks goes out to Alice Grinling for our photography and Justin Friello for composing our amazing theme song. Please remember to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you want to share your thoughts or what's going on in your theater community, you can reach out to us on social media or through our email at everythingtheaterpodcast@gmail.com. Till next time, it's everything, everything, everything.